Hi everybody, welcome back for day 4 and the final day of Tame Your Inner Critic for this week that we've been doing. I realized I have not actually mentioned this all week, so I'm going to do it today, but besides my business page, which this is what I'm filming on right now, Small Steps Coaching, I do have a private group called Feeling Younger as We Get Older. Now this is just for midlife women, so it is a women's only group. And midlife meaning, if you consider yourself midlife, then I consider you midlife, whatever you think that age is. But please come over and join the Midlife Women's Feeling Younger and as We Get Older private group. There's a little visit group button on my Small Steps Coaching business page. If you would like to have more content like this, I'll be doing more Facebook Lives there, question and answer kind of stuff, lots of posting, all of that. So please feel free to come visit. Let's do a quick recap from yesterday. Yesterday we went over the AHA technique, which was awareness, halt, and action. So awareness is recognizing when the inner critic is talking to you, when they start in your head, you hear it. You tell them to shut up, basically, and then you have to have an action plan. You have to have something that you're going to say to that inner critic. So prepared, memorized, written down somewhere. When that voice starts chirping at you, you come back with, no, that's not true. I'm sorry you feel that way. I know you're trying to protect me, but I can make changes, and I do have the ability to change, and I'm learning new things every day. Whatever your sentence is that you've come up with, be ready with it. And then also yesterday we talked a little bit about the growth mindset and the power of just saying, not yet. So if my inner critic is like, you can't run a marathon, I would come back with, not yet, but I'm making more progress every single week. Not that I've ever wanted to run a marathon, not that I ever have run a marathon. And at this point, I don't have any intention to run a marathon. Running's not my thing. Don't enjoy it at all. But whatever it is, same thing works. Today, I was going to discuss triggers and procrastination. So triggers is when you are going into a situation where there's a probably pretty good likelihood you may be hearing from your inner critic. And I think we can all probably guess what some of those situations may be. Shopping for clothes, trying on bathing suits is always a good one. Stepping on the scale may be a trigger for your inner critic. Holidays, holiday parties, worldwide pandemics, who knows? Number of things that can trigger your inner critic. But being aware of when you're about to step into a situation where you're like, that little voice in my head always starts popping off in this kind of an environment. Being ready with what you're going to say to it and being prepared for it. That leads us to procrastination. Why do we procrastinate? That is a $1 million question, isn't it? Lots of reasons. Sometimes just because something sounds boring, right? If I have to wash all the windows in my house, that's boring. I don't want to have to wash all the windows in my house. At some point I have to do it, right? It needs to be done. But yeah, you keep finding other things to do to push that off because it's boring. So sometimes it's not any big, deep, dark, conscious or subconscious thought. It's just a boring activity. But if it's not that, if it's maybe you're wanting to start eating healthy or start exercising again, right? And your inner critic hears you thinking that and going, oh yeah, you've tried that before. It doesn't go well. You've always failed. I don't want you to do that again. So you kind of get stuck in planning and preparing mode, right? So if you're looking to change the way you eat, maybe you've decided, well, let me first research keto and low carb and vegan and vegetarian and Mediterranean and paleo and however many other things you can come up with, right? Let me make sure I'm picking the best one. Or let me research all the exercise equipment out there, all the gyms out there. Make sure I'm picking the best one. But by spending all that time in research and planning, you're not actually doing anything. So your inner critic kind of likes, yeah, just keep planning, just keep researching, just keep putting it off till Monday or January 1st. How many things or how many people are out there waiting until January 1st to start something, right? That's your inner critic saying, That's big, that's scary, that's hard to do. You've tried it before, maybe you failed at it, and I want to keep that far away from me. So we're just gonna keep pushing it away. So how do we get around that procrastination? Couple things, couple tricks to get around procrastination is, instead of looking at it as a big, gigantic mountain that you have to climb, so come January 1st, I am going to join a gym and I'm going to work out 5 days a week and I'm going to spend an hour to 2 hours in the gym every day. That's a big mountain, a huge mountain. And if you think you're going to come running at that mountain on January 1st, how long do you think you're going to be able to keep climbing that mountain before you get exhausted and tired and start sliding back down? And those mountains are the kind of things that, trigger your inner critic to say, don't do that, you're gonna fail, that's too hard, you've tried it before. But what if, instead of climbing the mountain, you were going to step over one rock in front of you today? Not on Monday, not on January 1st, today. So if you're thinking, I'm gonna join a gym and I'm gonna start working out on January 1st, well, not that you can necessarily go into a gym on January 1st, we'll see how that all goes, but you get the idea. Instead of looking for that, to start that on January 1st, what could you do right now, today, December 11th, Friday? What could you do to exercise today? Could you do a 10-minute walk today? Maybe, probably, depending on what part of the country you're in right now. In Southern California, we could definitely do a 10-minute walk outside right now. But what small thing could you do right now today to get started on that goal that you keep putting off, that your inner critic is freaking out about because it's so big and so overwhelming, and maybe you've tried it before, but you've always failed at it, okay? Stepping over one rock is not gonna freak your inner critic out. Doing a 10-minute walk, your inner critic's like, whatever, that's fine, go ahead and do that, I'm busy worrying about this over here. Or if you're gonna try to change your eating habits, throwing all of your food out and going completely keto starting January 1st, that's hard. That's a hard change to make overnight, right? But what if you started by, I'm going to try to eat kale next week? Do you think that's going to trigger your inner critic? Nope, whatever. Nasty Nancy's going to be like, I don't care. Eat a piece of kale. Great, whatever. Not a big deal. Not stressed out by that. So trying to get around procrastination by one tiny little step, one small little rock that you step over, or keeping the time limit very short. I'm just going to do it for 5 or 10 minutes, it's no big deal. And that same technique actually works just as well for washing all the windows in my house, right? I'm going to just wash one window, or I'm going to only spend 5 minutes washing one window. So maybe that's all I do that. Maybe I just wash one window a day. And then after a month, all the windows are clean. Great. But a lot of times what happens is, after you spend 5 minutes or you wash one window, then it's like, I've got the bucket of water here and I've got the rag out already. I might as well just wash the next window. Okay? That is the sneaky trick around procrastination and getting around your inner critic, so they just kind of are chilling out watching Netflix over there in the corner and they're not paying attention. You go ahead and do that. You wash that one window, or you do that 10 minutes of a walk around the block. So hopefully this week has been helpful to you, and you've been implementing the things that I've been discussing, because you can hear it and listen to it, oh, that's some great idea, but you got to actually do it. You got to actually do it. You got to come up with that sentence to talk back to that inner critic. You got to try to step over one rock or do 5 minutes of something. Doing it is what counts, not just thinking about it, right? So again, if you thought this was interesting and you learned something and you're a midlife age woman, come over and join my Facebook group, Feeling Younger as We Get Older, and we'll do more Facebook Lives in there and more question and answers and all sorts of fun things. So thanks for tuning in for the week, and hope to see you in the group. Bye, everybody. Thanks.